Godzilla and co. are being sent back in time to when the dinosaurs ruled the Earth. Godzilla, Doom Island. Take control of Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, or Mecha King Ghidorah and do battle with ferocious beasts from the Paleozoic era. Have them...
Are these dinosaurs actually from the Paleozoic era, or is you just writing whatever the fuck you want to?
ShinRobjira.
Today we're going to be talking about the Trendmasters Godzilla Doom Island Godzilla vs. Tyrannosaurus Rex set. Up first, for a change, let's take a look at Godzilla. So one of the major features that Doom Island was really pushing was this new paint job that the figures would be getting. Even the reissues of older sculpts would be getting, just like all this, and I'm a really big fan of this paint job. You could tell the figure was all black, and then they just globbed all of this gray on here, but it looks like it works, and it does. Distribution might be a bit wonky, but I'm not really sure just how many of these copies were actually boxed up and made and shipped out to people. But regardless, we've got that beautiful Trendmasters paint job and detail. Look at those gnarly little knuckles. We've got paint all across the tail, including the dorsal fins, which will be a different color and painted all the way to the tip. Godzilla's little vanilla wafers over here are going to feature two different kinds of paint, it seems. A mix of this metallic muted blue and maybe a little bit more of a solid brighter blue in there, it seems. You can kind of see some of the lighter baby blue on the opposite ends of these dorsal fins. I mean, just look at this. That's 100% hand painted. Love you, Trendmasters. Want you back so desperately. Hell, even when you take a look at the fingers, you can tell that these were hand painted. They have such a strange look to them. Not strange in the bad way, of course, and they might look a little haphazard here, but the overall look and vibe of them, I really dig it. And then you look at the toes, and they've got that same vibe, but they can be a little bit on the messy side. And now we're taking a look at Godzilla's face, and he's got one eyeball poking out. This one's kind of just hiding under his brow, so let's take a look there, and ooh. Godzilla with deep red crimson eyes. Solid red crimson eyes. I like that, especially with the base black and this ghosty bluish gray that's strewn about all over his skin. Mwah! Got some detail for the ears, got a little bit of lip detail going on over here. He hasn't got those chunky cheeks that he did in his 10-inch variant. Same could be said for the opposite side, although the ear is a little less visible over here. But the teeth. Mama Supreme, look at that. That looks so good. Not perfect, but I gotta give Trendmasters credit where it is due. Their teeth game is pretty strong. Doesn't look like we're gonna get any paint for the inside of the mouth, but yet again, I'm pretty sure most of these weren't 100% finished. And if they were, this was probably entirely part of the whole aesthetic of Doom Island. Yeah, these figures were more than likely about as finished as they possibly could have been, as I don't think Trendmasters would have released half-finished products in official packaging. I really did try and find as much information as I possibly could, just so I don't have to go through it later, but the only information that was out there that sounded even a little bit viable was that Trendmasters did release Doom Island figures just solely through their website as contest prizes. The only other thing out there was that in 2001 there was a battle armored Doom Island Anguirus found. That's it. And now back to the review. I'm sorry about that, I just wanted to make that very, very clear. Got some nubby little dorsal fins on the back of his neck and on the top of his head over here. Again, you can see that mixture of silver and baby blue, and again, I just really, really fucking dig that. And just overall, this Godzilla figure, the overall design that they were going for with this figure, I really like it. I like that it's a sized down version of the 10-inch figure. When I got this for the first time, I thought, oh wow, that's crazy. I got a big boy in small format. Hey. And now let's take a look at Tyrannosaurus Rex and the Velociraptor. Just look at this filthy, demonic Cheeto with teeth. Oh, I love it. The different mixtures of orange, yellow, browns, and reds all strewn about with this really nice dry brushing or wash present on him all over his body. This is essentially a side figure. This isn't even the major focus of this line, and look at how it looks. Oh my god, it's like a hot Cheeto, a hot Dorito, and an exploded pizza roll had a dinosaur child. I hate how that kind of just came to mind like that. Look at the level of paint and detail they were working with here. I mean, we've got a Velociraptor that looks like a demonic Dorito with pink friggin' eyes. Aesthetic. And it just works too, man. And I love how varied the paint job can be. Over here, it looks like he's got some bubbling, burnt, crusty cheese on his head. You take a look at the other side and it's not as strong. And you look at the base of his tail over here in comparison to the rest of the tail, even moving into the back, and it's like Trendmasters! If Trendmasters had the Jurassic Park license, there would be no Mattel. That's not true. There probably would be. The details are fantastic no matter what part of the figure you're looking at. It's bright, it's glossy, it's got such weird and amazing colors. I love it. And I think it's worth mentioning now, but he's got a spring-loaded leg over here. I'm not sure if this was part of a gimmick or at least an unfinished gimmick, but his other leg isn't like that, his tail isn't like that, his arms aren't like that, his head isn't like that. There you go, there's articulation. Solid star in terms of articulation. So I'm not exactly sure what this was meant for, but hey, it's a thing. And now let's take a look at Tiberius Pex. Trendmasters Tyrannosaurus Rex is just so cool and so over the top. Deep forest greens, pink polka dots with some blue mixed in. This is without a doubt the most un-T-Rex looking paint job I've ever seen on a T-Rex figure. Liar! Yet Trendmasters somehow just made it work. The paint and detail on the teeth, the gums, the lips, the head overall, all of the little scales and bumps and grooves. Sure, he looks a little surprised and gummy from the front, but turn him to the side and he's got such a vicious looking snarl on him. And again, we're going to get that dark wash or dry brushing strewn about on the entirety of the figure, really bringing out Trendmasters and their detail game. And yet again, you're going to get that deep and dark dry brushing or wash effect on here. That is just going to pop all of the amazing details on this figure right on out. And again, it doesn't matter from where you're looking at this thing, it's just impressive. Hand painted, yes, but the level of mastery that went into this is magnificent. I mean, just look at that. It might have been the most simplest thing to do, but overall, Trendmasters clears. Great detail on the feet, leading into the leg over here, more of those pink polka dots and such. Fantastic. I don't think you could really get any better than this, although, taking a closer look at this arm, it looks like it was spackled. And that little effect is going to show up a little bit later down the line as I talk about the two other sets in this little mini-series. Now, unlike the Velociraptor, he doesn't have anything spring-loaded, but he does feel somewhat unfinished in the articulation portion just because he's got this. I'm really not sure what this was meant to do. I imagine this was supposed to be spring-loaded to some extent, probably by pulling a leg and then it would just... Yeah, there's another articulation spoiler for you. The mouth can open and close in a rather weird way. So as far as I'm concerned, Tyrannosaurus is going to get a solid star in terms of paint and detail, as is the little Velociraptor here, and Godzilla. So overall, this set has 2 solid stars in terms of paint and detail. Now let's take a look at articulation. Swivel at the head, swivel at the arm, swivel at the other arm. Legs can go all the way around, just like that, as can the tail. But oh, just look at that paint around the rim of Godzilla's ass. Just looks cool. It's like I'm getting sucked in. I didn't mean to say it like that. Swivel at the tail. Tyrannotruncatus is going to be able to swivel at the tail, swivel at the leg, swivel at the other leg-ish. Kind of looks like a little ray gun. Set phasers to stun. What was I doing? Just swivel almost all the way around at the other leg. Swivel at the arm. Another swivel at the arm. Swivel at the neck. With a somewhat opening and closing feature at the mouth. As far as articulation goes, I have no choice but to stand. A solid star for each. Man, just wait till Paleo Twitter gets a look at these things. Can you imagine? Oh no, he's all wrong. The Noahweakarm isn't connected to the Shaboodle-Doo, which is an inaccurate representation of the Tyrannosaurus Rex. While the Velociraptor over here, his head and Zechnofugelbone aren't protruding or showing the presence of feathers. So no, There are no accuracies or fun to be had here, ShinRobjira. Okay, thanks. This little snippet, this little taste of what the Godzilla Doom Island line could have been like absolutely has me so upset. Doom Island was said by Trendmasters to be the biggest and baddest Godzilla line of its time, and they were not joking. The amount of things they had planned for this, all the new monsters they had planned for this, it really would have been hailed as Trendmasters' best Godzilla line to date. Likewise, I'm very happy to have these figures in my collection, and if I ever come across some Doom Island stuff for not hundreds and hundreds of dollars, I'm there, dude. As I just said a few seconds ago, if these things were anything to go off of, Trendmasters' Godzilla Doom Island line would have been huge. And I really wish that series had its time to shine, because just these pieces right here are more than enough to get me hyped for something that's older than most of you out there. Not most of you, some of you though. 1997 would have been a beautiful time to be a Godzilla fan. But, you know. Yeah. I have been ShinRobjira. I do so hope you enjoyed this review, and when next we meet, if I'm not going to be upheaved by the arrival of an HLJ order, we shall begin Necathon. See you then. Peace. 65 looks like shit.